Hi everybody. I am Jess Jacobs. I'm an actor, screenwriter, producer, and abortion rights activist. I'm super excited to be here tonight to talk with the incredible filmmaking team behind Before You. Round of applause, please. I am thrilled to bring up here Lauren Melinda, the writer-director of Before You and the founder of Bell Productions. Adam Rodriguez, beautiful actor in Before You. And Helena Sardinha, she's the producer of Before You and head of development at Bell Productions. All right, guys, so I'm going to start at the very beginning. There's an opening card in the film that tells the audience that this is based on a true story. So Lauren, can you talk to us a little bit about the inception of the project?
Absolutely. First of all, I just want to thank everyone for being here and joining us on this special evening. It means a lot to have all of you take the time to watch the film and to stay for this Q&A, and especially wonderful because you and I have never seen the film together or sat for Q&A. So
raving about it, yeah.
But in terms of Jess's question, thank you. The film, I started writing the film actually after I had my second daughter. I was kind of shocked by the experience of kind of holding two very strong emotions at the same time, one of which was incredible joy and feeling so grateful for having this new child, and the other was incredible grief and the feeling of loss from the child that never came to be. So I started thinking about how I was being triggered in the moment, remembering the abortion, and started writing down those moments. And yeah, it kind of turned into this non-linear experience of memory, and that's kind of where it all came from.
So beautiful, and it is so true that memory does kind of exist in these fragments, in these little moments, and you capture that so beautifully. Adam, what drew you to the project? What sort of piqued your interest?
You know, I really connected to the weight of that journey and the idea of playing the person that isn't directly going through it, but is next to the person going directly through it and doing their best to carry them through while struggling to deal with your own feelings about it. I think it's so clearly the woman's direct journey to go through that experience, both physically, mentally, in all the ways that spiritually, in the way that happens, and when you connect with something growing inside of you. But you know, for a husband, I imagine that is also something that is a tremendous weight, you know, and you kind of have to be silent about it. And I feel like that carried through in the film, where there isn't much you can say or do other than just to be there. And the idea of being, you know, getting a chance to play that on screen with somebody was very interesting. And I thought it was great material to tackle, you know, which is very important material. The importance of it doesn't seem to wane, no matter what the climate in the world is. And so I think it's a very important message.
Yeah, there's something really beautiful about lending such immense talent to the sort of support for this beautiful character that Lauren created and that Tala embodied, and you did such a wonderful job. We'll circle back to the sort of quiet element of the film in a moment, but Helena, can you talk to us a little bit about what it was like to make the film as the producer? What was it like to work with Lauren and with Adam?
It was incredible.
And Tala? In addition to being incredible.
It was incredible. I mean, for me, I always approach filmmaker first. So getting to know Lauren and seeing how her vision on the page felt so specific from a script form. So every transition you see on the film was already written in the script.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Everything was written
So the transitions are amazing. I
They're
was just
amazing.
talking about that. I'm like, it's so, sorry to cut you off. I'm just saying it's one of the biggest challenges when you're making a film of any kind, but a short film is like pace is so important, and those transitions just carry you through the film in such an interesting way that, like, it really just raised the level of, I'm gonna say like the level of a cinematic, feel to the movie. Yes.
Yeah, that.
Yes.
Plus one. When I read the first time, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna make this happen because, like you said, it's a short film. There's a lot of limitations when you're making a short, and everything you see on screen is done on screen. There's no visual effects. Everything is practical. Everything is done in front of you. So we had an incredible team, our department team, Denise Stone, the front of the team, and Tim, who's here somewhere, worked with us. They made over 50 flats. We're able to find a space that we could stay for a whole month. It was a studio that was about to close
Day and night.
yeah, day and night working there. It was a studio that was about to close down, and we visited the place, and I was like, what if you don't close and you stay open for another month? And like, you made the least amount of money for that, and they said yes, thankfully. So we were able to stay in that space and build everything that you see. It was like, in the couch moment, it was like a hollow couch that gets pulled through the other side by 2 people, so everything you see was done in 4 people. Yeah.
And we were running out of time.
Oh, yeah.
It was the very last thing of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always like that, right?
That couch thing was the last moment of the day.
It was the second day. So,
Oh, it's so movie making magic, you guys. I mean, the transitions are exceptional. The sets are gorgeous. It's just such a feat. Adam, I want to talk again about your performance. It's stunning. It's really, really delicate. It's really beautiful. Both you and Tala are just completely embodied in the film. And as you said before, there's not a lot of dialogue. It's not a dialogue-heavy piece that you wrote. And so can you talk to us a little bit about your creative process, what it was like to sort of build this character and how you found those deep places that, just like so much happening in your eyes. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I will try. So thank you for the compliment. I think that in terms of building that, I think it always starts with, having met Lauren and Tala and, building rapport and discussing the themes of the piece, the things that weren't obvious, and sort of, maybe tapping into each other's personal experiences and sharing some of those things to try and find some, the rehearsals, which are great. I mean, anytime you get a chance to rehearse something before you're going to do it, it's rare and it's special. And I think it always pays a dividend, as you can see on screen. But I think really for me, my approach was just knowing that my role was truly support. And it was not a dialogue heavy piece, and so that support had to just come from stillness, I think, and quiet and sort of wrestling with my own pain and my own apprehension about everything that we were doing and in terms of having to go through this experience and the guilt, of that I think just goes along naturally with making those decisions. You question yourself. But also having to be strong for the person that was going through it on every other level. And so you have to push that down. And I think that my approach was about really just knowing that I had to just be giving in that way. It wasn't about me.
Right.
It wasn't regardless of what I was feeling, and I love the scene in the car because,
Same.
I think when you're feeling those things in real life, you allow yourself to be triggered in ways you might not otherwise be triggered, and so we all get a little road rage every once in a while, but obviously all of that going on underneath, and then having, seizing the moment where you have something to justify that rage for a moment and just let it out a little bit so it doesn't boil over. I just, all of those things were so well thought out that, you appreciate it when you read them on the page, but then you sit and you watch the film and you understand why it all makes sense in a different way once you see Lauren's vision fully brought to life with the help of all the wonderful people that made that happen. The set pieces were amazing, I gotta say. Even while we were filming, we're like, this is freaking amazing, guys. Like, it was really impressive, and along with the rehearsals, I think, as an actor, one of the things that does make performance feel more organic is having real set pieces like that versus visual effects where you're sort of in a void pretending that something is happening. The fact that it was actually happening was nice to have.
It's so amazing. Yeah, I mean the transitions, the set pieces, just the complete kind of universe that you've built. What were some of the tools that you had in your toolbox as a director that you were using on set with these brilliant actors in this beautiful setting that got built?
Yeah, I mean, I think something that's important to know about me as a director is that I come from the art world. So I went to undergraduate and graduate school for studio art, was a photographer, moved from photography into video installation and more experimental film, and this is my most narrative film yet. But I really think I don't think in language as much as I do in visuals.
Yeah.
And so it was really important to me even when I'm writing. I think I write very visually. As Helena said, everything that I see in my head is on the paper, is on the page. And so I think that that's also where, like, the practicality of everything, like I needed to feel the tangible quality of the couch, of the wall moving, and of even the elevator or the walls closing in on them. They had to really feel that in real time, as you said. It was, and I think, and then I'm also very lucky to have amazing people around me. John Louis, who unfortunately couldn't be here, but it is how I met Adam. Yeah, he is an Alexander teacher, so he does Alexander technique.
Wow.
And so
my
husband, who's an actor, has worked with him for many tips. Thank you. And I have to actually thank him for allowing me, or not allowing me, but supporting me in telling the story, because it's not just my story, it's our story, and he's been so incredibly supportive and loving, and I'm just very, very grateful to him. Now I lost my train of thought.
Alexander Jean.
Thank you, John. Thank you. See, this is why
The man is always there. Anytime you need him, he is there.
And we used Alexander in our rehearsal with Tala and Adam, and that was really amazing. But I just worked, and John Louis is actually an associate producer on the film, and worked with me from the conception of the script, and he's just really amazing. So I think that that's probably one of my strong, not only for me just calming my own self and being connected to my, especially it being my story. I think I couldn't get lost in that. I really needed to be present. Also for everybody on set, was, as a director, you have to hold space for everybody, and so I couldn't lose myself, and Alexander was really something that I would come back to in order to have that. But yeah, I mean, I think that those are probably two of my strongest tools, I would say.
Yeah. No, I mean that, and it's such a beautiful transition, sort of talking about craft and the tools, to talking about some of the themes. The fact that it's your story and that you started to write this and conceive of this project before the fall of Roe, before Dobbs' decision came down. I'm really curious how the project shifted as the landscape in this country what's the polite word to use, as it crumbled before us?
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to make this film in order to reach out to others who had experienced something similar to me. I felt very much alone in my experience. I felt that there was a lot of shame around abortion, especially when and I really honestly had never seen a story of a couple going through an abortion, and the story of, you know, two people who truly want to have a family, want to have a child, and then have something occur that changes those plans for them. And so my desire was to create this film in order to reach out to others, to create community, to create conversation. And I think that what happened with the reversal of Roe was that it just became even more, that feeling became even stronger. And I, kind of written the film, put it to the side, and then when everything happened, I just said, no, this isn't my priority. I need to put this out into the world, no matter how it makes me feel or how uncomfortable I am at moments about telling my own story. I need to share it because I know that there are so many others who have experienced, a difficult journey to parenthood, and so it was, I think it just drove me even more to find the right people, and I'm so grateful that I found Helena and Hoffa to produce the film. They believed in my vision and were the most amazing, supportive producers I could ever dream of, and to have Tala and Adam, it was just, everybody is, knock on wood, it was a really incredible collaboration as, and community building. The community building not only of the men and women who have experienced abortion in this way, but also of, a film community that I feel very, very fortunate to be a part of.
It really reminds me in this funny way of Chrissy Teigen and John Legend, and how John was actually the one who was like, that was an abortion, and Chrissy was like, oh. And so it's this kind of it really is it is an experience of a couple. And I think as this landscape has shifted, often the burden is placed on the shoulders of women to fight for their rights. But there is so much more that all of us gain from women having access to the care that they need, and couples and families having access to the care that they need.
And just to say, it's been really amazing for us to have shown this film around the country, especially in states where abortion is either has major restrictions or is restricted altogether. And we played Oklahoma, Alabama, Idaho, Texas. So to be able to have these kinds of conversations in those states has been incredibly powerful.
And what has our reception been like, Helena?
Yeah, the reception has been very great, especially from men. That's something that, we wanted to talk about, the couple going through here. A lot of men that are not even fathers yet, but people that are thinking of having kids came to me after school, and I feel really touched by this. I can't imagine what it is like as a man to go through it. Or women that were like, I hold the story for the entirety of my life, and I never seen anything on screen that looks or resembles what I went through, and now I'm seeing. Thank you. So across many different cities with different audiences, we had that kind of response, which has been really special because it's a community that Lauren is talking about. We're creating community, creating the social impact through the making of the film.
We're working with Planned Parenthood as well.
Yeah, working with them. They came to many of our screenings in different cities to talk about their work, to educate people as well, and see them as a tool for many ways that people can use their systems and their support systems. So it's been really great working with them.
Amazing. And this collaboration that you have with Planned Parenthood is so reflective of the work that Symbol Productions is doing. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you see this piece as part of the greater effort and work of Symbol?
So I think Before You was like the uniting force of Symbol. It was the tipping of the iceberg of like
I'll just say real fast. Symbella is a nonprofit production company I started prior to filming Before You. It's named after our two daughters, Simone and Lily Bell. So we created the name Symbella with the idea of, creating narrative films that would, hopefully change the future for the next generation of women.
So with Before You, we have like two main goals. It's like telling stories surrounding female narratives and also that have social impact driven stories. So after Before You, we started working with other filmmakers, joining other projects. For example, joined this project called Familiar Touch that won Seraphim's debut feature, won 2 prizes in Venice last year. They're working with Caring Across Generations, so collaborating with other organizations, thinking bigger landscape of distribution. How can we use social impact to touch people? Because in film, we talk a lot about social impact when we're talking about documentaries, but we're trying to rethink this narrative and looking at narrative filmmaking. How can we use our tools for social impact to, touch more audiences? There's this other project we are actually in production right now called Here for the Weekend. It's heavily supported by the Sundance Institute, that it's about the trans community. So within that, we created a career advancement program where we brought someone from the trans community into set, someone that wants to learn about filmmaking, and we're kind of supporting them financially to intern the film, learn from the filmmakers, and to join the film industry. So we're trying to think ways that we can help and support our industry and also create a good impact. Just good.
We need a little more good in the world these days. So, you guys, I'm really excited to open this up to questions. Here.
What did you think about the ethnicity? Why did you choose the ethnicity of the actors? Because I feel like depending on the culture, abortion is looked at differently. So how did you go about choosing, and was it significant?
How did you go about choosing the ethnicity of the characters for the film? How was it significant?
Yeah, I mean, when I wrote the film, again, it was from such a personal place, and I'm first generation American. Both my parents were born in Iran. I feel that my parents raised me to be a very proud American, but I also, there are these cultural elements that still exist within our family. The way that the mother talks to Tala, the way that the aunt, the tough, 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 the evil eye, don't tell anybody, those are very true to who I am and my own experience. And Tala is also an Iranian American, so when I was looking to cast the lead, I did look to see, who I think had a similar kind of energy to me, maybe. And I think that Tala, the first conversation I had, she was the first person on the film before anybody else. She was the first person I reached out to. And we just had a really special connection and really understood each other in that way. And my hope was that even though it does, highlight her heritage, that it's universal enough to where people from other backgrounds could still feel the kind of familial pressure or history, so, and then Adam, I just couldn't say no to, so.
I mean, look at him.
But also, he's handsome, my husband's handsome.
That's typecasting, basically.
What other questions do we have from the audience?
And he's very talented. Handsome and talented is like the double threat. Yes, so he's my husband, so.
I thought the film was told so beautifully through the transitions and the edit and visually, but I was curious if sound and music were also in your head when you were writing, or if you discovered that in post.
Were sound and music in Lauren's head when she was writing, or was that discovered in post?
Yeah, I mean, some of it was even written into the script. I don't know if you heard like the baby cry when the wheels turn. That was was something that I definitely thought of before. And
Because of personal experience or because of?
I think because when it was the way again that like memory works, right? So if my baby was crying, it would kind of make me think about, well, there was multiple things. One was making it very, it was important that the sounds of motherhood were in that journey. So even within what we call the womb scene, a lot of that is kind of the end of her dream or the ideas of what it would be, what the sounds of being a mother sounded like. So I think I was thinking a lot about that. It was also, I did have a small child while I was, writing the film, even directing the film. So I think just being surrounded by those sounds as well. I mean, some of the sounds are them, I have my little one, my older one says mama, so I think that, it was absolutely, some of it was from before, and when we had an incredible composer who couldn't be here because he's nominated for a Grammy, a Latin Grammy.
Yes,
and then the other
1,000 birds.
1,000 Birds, oh my God, thank you, did an incredible job mixing and bringing in a lot of that, kind of the undertones to the film. But no, absolutely, thank you for asking that. It's a huge part of it. Great question.
Any other? Yes, please.
How did your family, because of cultural difference, how did your family respond to you making this film? And were they supportive, or did they want you not to share the story?
Because of the cultural difference, how did Lauren's family respond to the film?
It's a very good question. They're very, very supportive. They also think I'm crazy. Yeah, and I think within my family unit, I've always kind of been the truth teller, so I don't think that they were necessarily surprised, but I think they don't understand, like, why would you tell this story, you keep it quiet, you don't talk about these kinds of things, and and I'm the person who stands on the rooftop and is like, look at what happened to me, like, did it happen to you too? Like, let's talk about it, So yeah, I think it's the mixed emotions for them, for sure.
Any other questions? Yeah, please, we've got one here.
I love the scene in the elevator with the great balloons.
And the handsome guy, right?
Our Mario, our delivery man, our balloon man is here. Balloon man!
This was not prepared, right? I don't know.
When that scene comes out, and the production designers in some ways suggest for the production.
Yeah, how did the balloons come about? What was the sort of inspiration?
So initially the balloons were pink in the script, but as I started to work more on color, there's a whole color scheme throughout the film. So the moments in which Tala and Adam are experiencing the abortion those are all grayscale. So everything that they were wearing, all of the walls, the office, everything was in grayscale. So the balloons had to be gray, and then the color it was kind of like a color wheel from starting out when they got the news where they were in bed together and everything was pink, to kind of the orange of the mother's room, to the more kind of, I don't know, not dangerous, but kind of the yellow kind of walls of the aunt's room, to kind of slowly getting to the gray of the doctor's office, and then full circle back to the baby's room, which was pink. So it just changed when we started working on the color.
It's such a expression of your visual art background too. Just the visual landscape of the film is so stunning. Any other questions? Yes, please.
I know I've met a beautiful girl. But you just told me that you
How did Adam's fatherhood link to the work on his work on this film?
You know, I think understanding both sides, you know, the potential for life and, you know, or the existence of it, and then, you know, the actual existence of it on this side of things. I think that helps. I think that helps just add weight to all of the things you have to create in that space to make those moments have, you know, to feel as impactful as possible, as real, you know. So yeah, I mean, I think all of your life experiences help whenever you're doing your work, but I think that I don't think anything else has impacted my life more than becoming a father and raising children and being a husband. So I think that yeah, I mean, I think that has an impact on pretty much everything I do from that moment on. You know, and it just you become more and more aware of it as time goes on. I think I don't think you realize it at first, but I've been doing it long enough now to know that there's probably nothing that I do in life, and whether I'm conscious of it or not, that's not connected to them.
Gorgeous. Any other questions? We have time for one more. Yeah, please.
Going back to the transitions, in addition to the aesthetic that they serve and the way they function, the aesthetic experience that they allow the audience to have, they also serve a very emotional component in the sense that they always underline this, how the character is suffocated by expectations, by wrong. And that's kind of how memory works, right? When you go back to something that perhaps your own process. And it never gets in the way of the core of the story. I was hoping you could talk a little about that guiding force, because was there ever a time that says, is this going to actually get in the way of the story at all?
In addition to the aesthetic value that the transitions give the audience.
That's a great question.
The device never eclipses.
Yes.
What's
Yeah.
more
It never felt like a gimmick.
Never.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it could have.
So how are they integrated?
Had it not
I think when I worked very, very closely with Danny Sistone, who's our production designer, and we really walked through each transition, and there might have been some small tweaks that we made, but we really stayed true to the script. I don't know, and it was because it's the driving force of her emotional experience. I think that's, you know, and I don't. I think also I think it was about how do we make these things occur in a way that are, again, just staying to truth, you know, instead of having it be anything exaggerated or over the top. I never wanted it to feel like it was showing off or anything like that. It was how, again, going back to the character and asking her, what is the thing that triggers this, right? I'm asking myself, you know, like what is it that triggers this next emotion? And I think it's subtle, but still impactful in terms of the movement.
Yeah, I mean, if I could just tag it out, I didn't have anything to do with creating them or executing them, but like when I read the script, it was a concern of mine too. I know how important transitions are, and until you see the film, I mean, I don't think you can realize when you're reading it, but when you see it, the way it was executed, it really had, I mean, though they were so well done, they just really kept the film moving in a way, or snapped you even more into that moment, you know, where you could do that with the camera sometimes, you can do it with an acting moment, but those transitions, I think, actually really punctuated those moments in a way that were so placed in the right spot that maybe that's the reason they never got in the way, you know. But I mean, it's a great observation, I think, because it's true. It's a fine line, you know. Yeah.
The only thing that we workshopped wasn't transitions, was the side, how long the womb sequence would be. That's something we workshopped a little. And then, yeah. And we considered removing the balloon at the floor.
Yeah.
We considered that because we were like, is this too much? Are we hitting the metaphor way too many times? But ultimately we decided to keep that.
Well, and I think by that point too, you've earned such trust in the audience that we're just so along for the ride. And the transition piece, I mean, this is such a beautiful question. It's such an interesting question because movie making is absolute magic. And so for all of these things to feel earnest and earned and trustworthy is a symbol, I think, of the shared vision and values and intent that the full creative team had behind the project. And it's also, I have to say, like a demonstration of your skill as a filmmaker, that you've directed these actors, that the camera movements and the camera work that you and the DP work so closely together to be able to do those kind of single shot moments. Those are hard. It's really hard to do, and so just major props to the whole team for building such a cohesive piece, and also a whole lot of joy. So when